But before we go into that, kasichazele ngawe kancinci so that people know who you are and what you do.
Okay. Igama lami nguLwanda Khatshane.
Yes.
I am a pharmacist.
Yes.
I've been a pharmacist now for about 12 years, 12, 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
I'm very passionate about indoor information and that
Yes.
people get the right or the correct information.
Yeah.
And that abantu can just learn to think or analyze the information that they find,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because now, especially, we live in an age where it's easy to get information. It's very hard to get the right information.
Yes.
You know, you have a phone, you can only just go search, but izinto zozifumana, you then have to learn to sift through, and not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah, particularly these VNs. I must say, I have a lot of hate for these VNs. A lot of VNs. Someone saying, or
Yeah.
this is what the doctor. I mean, we recently heard. I'm sure you would have seen or heard this VN where this guy was saying in the next coming 2 weeks. I mean, it was very alarming, that VN.
Yeah.
That he met this doctor was saying.
Yes,
you remember
yes.
that VN?
Yes,
This
and
doctor
the,
was
and the
saying,
doctor
yeah, things
replied to say
Yeah.
he has no connection with this
Yeah,
person.
I mean, he hasn't met
Yeah.
this person in 7 months or something like that.
Yeah.
So we live, I like what you're saying, because we live in a period where the information is easy, but the right type of information
Sure.
is not always easy to sift through all of these things.
Listen, le nto ithethayo about people passing, it's a very sad conversation.
Yes.
Because it is a real family.
Oh, yeah.
It is a real person that is dying. You know, even one person, we've been saying, even one person passing away is really sad, you know. But we do have to look at the numbers. And
Yes.
it doesn't mean, Bana, we are not empathetic with the
Yes.
families. Yes. So now you hear that mortuary zigcwele and that they are seeing a lot more bodies or that the hospitals are full. But even that is not unpacked. You know,
Yes,
it's as though the information is coming to make everyone scared.
Mm.
If there's 3,000 odd people that are dying in 4 months,
Yes.
how many people are dying per day if you just did simple arithmetic?
Yeah.
And how is that number going to fill every mortuary in the country? You know what I mean? Hospitals are full. It is the COVID wards that are full to take abantu. You know,
Yes.
it's not when you say that to someone is going to think every single bed in the hospital doesn't have people. But then there's an allocation, right? There's an allocation
Yes.
to say this is pediatric, this is cancer, this is where we're going to see this person. So I think the information needs to come in that sort of format. Yeah.
I like that, because I mean the unpacking of that information then gives one a sort of I had a friend who was here in Frere Hospital. He was admitted for COVID-19.
Sure.
I went there. I mean, you would expect really to be frantic. You know, if you go there, it's like chock-a-block. And how easy it was for me to actually, be able to get a nurse, in fact, walk in the wards, and I didn't see the type of dramatization that you would hear most of the time. So I think I like that. But as a pharmacist, you encounter and have a lot of conversations with people that come to you.
Yes.
And I'm sure even outside then, of your practice, to say, man, what is it that we can do now? And what is the major problem here? Firstly, let's start with one of the most sort of things that people talk about, even the scientists, the immune system.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Why is it important that the immune system be on par in order for a person to be able to say they can fight the disease, as it were?
Okay. So immune system, if the very primary thing about the immune system is it is your defense mechanism. It is how the body defends itself against disease.
Yes.
And particularly infectious diseases. So if we are talking diabetes, if we are talking a heart attack and hypertension, then we are not talking the immune system per se, because they're then physiological conditions, because you are this weight, because you have cholesterol, then this happened, if you have cancer. The immune system is like I said, we're talking infectious diseases.
Yes.
There is a bug, and you then breathe the bug, or it went through your skin or other, can your body fight this bug? And the body usually can. But sometimes you will need to go to your doctor and get antibiotics that will help to kill this bug. So we can talk chickenpox, we can talk measles, we can talk malaria, we can talk HIV, we can talk TB, where these things are a virus or bacteria or fungus that then infects you. You will, something like chickenpox, we don't have a cure for it. You just need to wait the 5 days, depending on who you are and what age, obviously. You just have to wait the time, and the body eventually just kills it. For measles, it's the same. For the common flu, it's the same. We don't have a cure for it. The body just takes care of it over time. But we do treat the symptoms. If you have chickenpox, get calamine for the itch, those sort of things, right? And this is where we are now with this, where we do not have a vaccine. There is no prevention method, and we don't have a cure, but we can treat the symptoms. What I do not like about this is it has made people who are not sick to now fill up every health facility. If you allow, like pharmacists are now, pharmacies, are full, doctors' rooms are full of healthy people who think that there's these things that they can take that will help them, and they will make them not to get this thing. Mandi fute, mandi, you know.
But I mean, I think I understand what you're saying. It's a natural reaction, because part of the reaction is really coupled with fear. You know, that people are really afraid, and the worst part is also when you hear the specialist saying, we don't know what this is, you know, we don't know how to deal with this thing. We can't have, there is no cure for it, as you are saying. So, I mean, sometimes you go out, you go to the shop, and you come back, and you know, and then already you want to, you know, deal with that immediately. I mean, would you agree with that?
You know, as you are talking, I'm thinking about how there is a war on the socials about, or rather in society, about traditional medicine and Western medicine. For me, these things are the same. So majority of what we call Western medicine is traditional medicine. Someone would have found a willow bark and said, you know, if you chew on this thing, you will access this medicine that will help with inflammation and whatever, right? And this is how then we had aspirin. And then we had wintergreen that you can use to rub on painful areas and so forth. There are many other examples where this thing is found in nature, but then you can extract it and make it a tablet and make it easily accessible. And then from here, you could actually make more, or rather similar molecules. You can make similar molecules to that and call it something different. But usually it comes from nature. What is the difference? The difference really is saying, this thing works, but how does it work? This is where the science comes in. How does it work? At what dosage? How much does a person need to take? Because now, kutwa, you can take this herb. Kutwa, you can take this garlic. How much garlic? Is it a slice? Is it a... You know, do I have to take the whole thing? How often? So let's make an example again with aspirin, where at 100 milligrams, aspirin helps to, as an anticoagulant, so helps to thin the blood. At 300 milligram, it is then now helping as an analgesic, you know, for pain. And at 500 milligram, the same aspirin, at 500 milligrams, helps with inflammation. So you see, now you have a case where I must take umhlonyane, but how much? And what is it doing to your body? How often should you be taking it? And then people sooner or later are then rushed to hospital because their kidneys can't flush this thing out quickly enough, you know, because you are taking so much of it. And the person who's giving you the information, information, you don't demand these things. People just simply accept. They don't demand the answers to say, how much of this thing should I use?
Yes. And how much? I mean, look, for instance, my other recent experience, you
Yeah.
know, person close to me, who had felt, you know, chest pains like a cheese
Sure.
because they had been drinking a lot of lemon, you
Okay.
know, manzana
Okay.
lemon and all of that.
Yes, yes.
And so eventually this it has an adverse effect on
Correct.
the person, and then they go to the doctor, and the doctor says, why you've been drinking lemon and because lemon in acid. So
Yes.
ultimately now invariably, whilst you think that you are doing something good, but you find yourself now with too much acid in your body.
I like this because the public buys a product, a brand.
Yes.
The pharmaceutical companies, yes, have different brands, but usually when we as professionals look at the product, we are looking at the molecule, the
Yes.
active ingredient.
Okay. Okay.
You know, what makes this in the brand? So you can call it Panado, you can call it Pain Block, but it's still paracetamol.
Yes.
Do you get what I mean? So now people are advising each other on taking different brands,
Yes.
but the content in the brand
It's
is
the
the
same.
exact same
Oh,
thing. So now you are overdosing, right? Because you want every product that helps with cough. You want every product that helps, but those products do it because they are the same thing.
Yes. Yes.
So you see these pictures where, you know, there's 10 different things that people must use if they have
Yeah.
COVID. All those 10 different things are the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yvonne?
Wow. So I mean, what then do you do? I mean, because let's be real. I like the example you've made earlier on, the umhlonyane, or what is now we know as traditional, and then what is now what you call scientific, as
Or
it were.
Western medicine, they want to
Yeah,
call it,
yeah.
yes.
So I mean, we have people currently now, probably ababilisayo, whatever babilisayo.
Correct, yeah.
We have people who are saying, for instance, one of the things that has been prominent now, eucalyptus oil.
Yeah.
You know, people are saying, masfute Mark Twain. So in influx of information. And I think part of that information is caused by the fact that there's less information, credible information, that is going out to the people. People go to the pharmacist or to the pharmacy to go and get whatever they would have had because it helped someone else somewhere.
Yeah.
So how do you then sift between all of these? I mean, I come to you as a pharmacist and I have all of this information. How do you deal with that? Because remember, we said earlier on the anxiety. You know, people don't want to die.
The problem is what I stated earlier. This idea that these things there must be war, you know, with them.
Yes.
You can't have them existing at the same time. So we are the bad people, pharmacists and doctors, because we know nothing. All we want to do is to make people pay,
Yes.
right? So we are now the bad guys, and so people don't want to listen to us. They want to go to the VNs, and they want to go and do it the natural way. So let's make an example again with umhlonyane. Umhlonyane is artemisia, ne? That's what they call it.
Yes.
So what the Chinese used to do back in the day is to use it for malaria. It was actually an anti-malarial. They'd make tea out of it, and umdu who had malaria symptoms would then get cured. Science took the artemisinin and made tablets out of it, right? So that then everyone has it. It's not just available in
Yes.
China or just in that part of the world.
Yes.
So you can get this synergy or symbiosis between the two, where now what was a herb can exist as a tablet.
Yes.
But it is under these controlled conditions, and that's how we now know that you can't just use it alone. The malaria bugs have become resistant to it, and then you have to
Okay.
change treatment and so forth. But now tata indo, where yes, it could have been true that you can use cucumber or garlic or eucalyptus
Yeah.
for indo, but it could have been through 20 years ago or other, right?
Yes.
And now it is no longer.
Okay.
Umbuzo wako, if ndiyawuphendula in a simple way, it is that people don't want the advice. People go to doctors now and demand that,
Yes.
please prescribe this for me because I read on Google, I read wherever, and they said this is what works. Yebo?
I did hear that umhlonyane, part of the adverse effects zayo, and you would correct this, is that if umuntu who has a chronic medication,
Yeah.
oyityayo,
Yeah,
that umhlonyane makes that medication ineffective. Basically, I clean out of your system. So then you may find that if ungumuntu mhlambi or diabetic,
Yeah.
and umhlonyane, so whatever you're using on the other hand, so ulena iyayicleana.
Yeah.
How far true is that?
I don't know about umhlonyane.
Yeah.
But just to help unpack what you're saying, there are medicines that we call hepatic inducers.
Yes.
Because yonke into zayithatha is then processed by your liver. Some medicines that we take make your liver process things much faster.
Yes.
So if you are taking this medicine and are taking something for a chronic condition, the doctor must up the dosage.
Okay.
So that it still does the same job. So it's not a concept as SSRT, it's just a mhlonyane thing. We are familiar with it. It does happen, which is why we need these things to be documented. Immediately, as a pharmacist, when I know you are taking this and that together, I say, no, listen, actually, we will now need to up this dose so that this drug does the same thing it would have done if you were not taking this one here. And that's what we need. We need this information and and not carry on abantu sibapusha ngelamuni nendoni because zingcono kunale western med yayibona le nto ndisirayo, you know.
But look, I heard or saw during the week the scientist, I mean the doctor in KZN, being asked about this issue of umhlonyane on some TV channel. But what I've seen most of the time when people ask professional doctors about these things, traditional medicine, I find them to be evasive, not wanting to sort of be very rigid in terms of the answers that they put across the table. I don't know whether it's to say because this one has not been tested and you don't want as a doctor to put yourself in a position where you can say, no, this works actually or this doesn't work. Why is that the case?
It's because it's science. We work on observation. I was making an example earlier to people and I was saying, I was asking them, which one do you think works better? A hand sanitizer with 95% alcohol or a hand sanitizer with 70% alcohol? Because now we have people selling 95% alcohol sanitizers because, hey, they're going to work better. Where's the problem? The problem is that is common sense.
Yes.
What does the science tell us? The science tells us that if we take 100%, 90%, 80%, 7%, 60% of alcohol, we put it in an agar plate and let the bacteria, let the bugs grow. We found that in the ones that had 100%, 90%, 80% alcohol, there was more growth of bugs. But in the one with 70%, there was less growth or no growth. So then the one with 70% works.
Yes.
Because it's an observation. You have to test, right?
Yeah.
This is why it's very difficult to comment on these things because there's no data.
Yes.
There's no data that we can look at and say, these are the people that we're given this thing at this dose and this is how it worked. Okay. We've got anecdotal science, right, or anecdotal evidence where umakhelwane says, I've used this and then that helped, which is not enough.
Yes.
We know, I usually make an example here of people who use diesel for snakes.
Yes.
Uhlala endlini yakhe 20 years zange wabona nyoka. Bona inyoka imini benya ibulala aqalele diesel. Goes 3 years athi hayi la diesel iyandinceda because then hayi bo but kaloku you had 20 years njengaqalelanga diesel zange ubone nyoka. You know how now do you know uba it's the diesel? We need to connect or relate effects, yebo. Umzekelo, 80% of the people who have COVID will not be will not be hospitalized.
Yes.
Right? And we have a good percentage of people who have no symptoms. So that those people who are not hospitalized or do not have symptoms or have minor symptoms take umhlonyane or water or anything else.
Yeah.
You know, is it really then it? Is it land or is it the lemon?
Yes.
Or was it just going to happen anyway? And there we talk about the placebo effect,
Yes.
where we give abantu into that they think is medicine.
Yes.
It happens a lot within our hospitals. It happens in drug research. With the ladies, in their contraceptive pills, there's a line of pills as bomvupa. They are placebo tablets. They have absolutely no medicine in them. Everyone believes that they will make them have a menstrual cycle, a period.
Yes.
If umdu has not seen their blood or they want to, they quickly go and take those tablets. And they want to argue with us as pharmacists and say, no, those pills work because when I take them, I will bleed. But then you're just bleeding because you're no longer taking hormone.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Wow.
Science. We need the data. If I don't have data, it's very difficult for me to comment. But I know I've seen the dangers, right? I've seen people who take umhlonyane and then end up being admitted umhlonyane or other herbal remedy, you know, because abantu, even people with cancer, abantu, when they have a certain disease with the anxiety, they will then end up going to traditional healers.
Yes.
And they might overdose on these things and end up in hospitals with kidney failure, with liver failure. Yebo?
Luanda, thank you for that. We're going to take a break. Ugalela manzi kuyirati zabantu Luanda. But yeah, we will take a break and then we'll come back, you know, talk some